Whoa. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Rants About Tech Live. Number 249. We're almost at 250. This is the Rants About Tech show where we talk about eInk news, talk about tech news, we talk about random stuff throughout the day. I'm your host here in sunny Philadelphia today, but it's brick cold outside. It's brick cold. I know, chat. We're about to get it up here. It's brick cold outside today. It's like 5 degrees today. 5 degrees outside today. I'm not sure what it is where any of you guys are today, but man, it is brick cold here today. But at least the sun's shining. We have that on our side. This is Rants About Tech Live for this, like I said, number 249 for this Thursday, January 29th. We got a few things to talk about here today. BM, good morning, sir. How you doing? And cheers. We got a couple things to talk about today as far as tech news goes. Google has some things going on with Chrome. And also, what else we got? YouTube also, well, Google has more stuff going on with Chrome, but they also got some stuff going on with YouTube here, getting rid of the AI slop. And we'll see how much, we'll see how much AI slop they get rid of. But, well, let's go into the intros for today. So, listen, I don't normally curse on the show, so apologies for yesterday. Pardon my French. That was just end of the show crazy. Reading that title, holy. Good morning, Aaron. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Also, I did take my library pick. Getting into the rando stuff. I did take my library pick yesterday. Let's take a look at this. Yesterday was take a selfie pick at the library, and I had to get a library pick. Oh boy, there it is, right here. That's your boy at the library. Now listen. Cold as crap, so I was freezing to death, but I got the library pick. And Drexel University, the Haggerty Library is the closest library to me, so that's my local library. That's how we're playing the chat. What else we got here for the holidays? Today we got NASA Day of Remembrance, remembering all of the our fallen astronauts. We're talking Apollo 1. We're talking Challenger. Any losses we suffered over NASA, we're remembering those losses today. And you know what's so funny? I had a question in the chat that I wanted to ask about culture at workplaces. Since a lot of you guys watch the show at work, I get it, I understand. And talking about workplace culture and how to extend workplace culture, that was a very interesting concept to me that I was listening. I was listening to a podcast. I think it might have been CNN, a podcast of CNN. They were talking to a retired astronaut, and they were talking to him about, and maybe this was in response to NASA Remembrance Day happening this week, but that was earlier this week. I heard it, and this guy was talking about how new people come in with better ideas. A lot of people get fired when things like that happen, and new management come in, and they try to make sure that the new people coming in remember the challenges they faced in the past, and that keeps a culture of safety and awareness alive within the organization. I thought that was a very interesting take. Through any event, a very interesting thing. How do you keep a good culture going in a workplace? Like, you're at a workplace, you like the culture. How do you, like, what are some of the best ways that people keep culture in a workplace going? Like, keep people motivated towards the same goal that they started with, you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes you lose your motivation and lose your vision for something over time, and finding ways to keep that going is very interesting to me. But anyway, I thought that was very interesting correlation there. And look, going on National Puzzle Day. I'm not a big puzzle guy, but if you got puzzles, you haven't actually, this is for people who haven't finished the puzzle. You got that puzzle sitting in the corner, half done. Think about adding some pieces today. There you go. You ain't got to finish it. Just, work a little bit on it. National Carnation Day as well. I'm a big carnation fan. I like carnations. Carnations are cool. Matter of fact, let's take a look at a carnation. Carnations. Lest we forget what carnations look like. Oh boy. We got carnations. Oh, don't pay attention to that. There we go. Very, very nice flowers. They last a while. That's why I like them. They're colorful and they last a while. It's good stuff. All right, moving on to the tech news, everyone. Ba-da-ba. Okay. Transition needs to be worked on, but we'll work on that. Tech news. What we got here? YouTube gets rid of AI slop. Do they though? Do they really get rid of AI slop? Does AI slop ever get? Do you ever get rid of it? I don't think they're really working that hard, but we're about to see. Let's take a look at some of the details here. Right here we have YouTube kicked off 2026 by making. Actually, hold on. What do you have here? Yeah, by making several new bets that dictate the future of a platform. Of course, the vision includes a lot of AI, but it also includes reducing slop created by the very tools that people use to create this AI slop. A task that that streaming giant has already begun executing with clinical precision. Clinical precision, you say? Okay. In an annual letter, YouTube CEO Neil Bowen wrote that it's becoming harder to detect what's real. I don't know if it's. I can still spot an AI. I can still spot AI slop when I see it, for sure. And what's AI generated? The prevalence of AI tools has made this problem critical, especially when it becomes to deepfakes. Since the letter, YouTube has aggressively deplatformed several channels that thrived off AI slop. Making a significant shift in the streaming giant's approach, the development was highlighted by Copwing in a new report. Who is Copwing? In its original report, which was published back in November 2025, the platform highlighted the top 100 most subscribed AI slop YouTube channels. I wonder what they deem AI slop channels. I wonder what the criteria is for that. Since Mohan's letter, 16 of those top 100 channels have already been deplatformed. The most popular of the bunch was Quintos Fascinates. I took some Spanish in high school. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. With over 5,950,000 and $200 million in estimated annual earnings. I guess the number was the subscriptions. And they got other ones here. I'm not even going to butcher the names. I tried hard enough with the other one. But lots of subscribers on these channels. I'm not sure what the content on these channels were. The 16 channels, which were all generating massive income via synthetic engagement, boosting over 35 million top subscribers, over 4.7 billion combined lifetime views, and a little under 10 million in collective annual earnings. While most AI slop channels have been deleted entirely, some remain live with their entire libraries wiped clean. YouTube has reported using its existing spam and clickbait combating system to catch slop. While it understands that using AI to create content can be a legitimate creative outlet, and it can if used as a tool, right? I mean, if you're just generating all of your content. And you know what I don't like too? You know what's becoming AI slop to me, chat? The people who, and I get it, it used to didn't bother me. Like, when I watched the video and it was all like talking and video, you never saw a person, which a lot of YouTube is that, right? Not a big deal. But now in a world where AI is talking, I thought, okay, well, these people are using AI to voice their scripts for them because maybe they have, maybe they have a speech impediment that this gets them around. Cool, they're using it as a tool. Maybe they don't know the English or whatever language they're trying to get their video out to that well. Cool, AI can be used as a tool to translate in a myriad different language, right? So, I mean, it's a tool using that way. But then I started to think, okay, well, a lot of people are now starting to just generate the content with AI, and the AI is voicing it. Now I'm like looking at everything skeptically. Like, I'm looking at everything that's AI voiced with a skeptical eye now, because I'm like, okay, I know this is an AI voice. I know it from how it sounds. Now, does it bother me that this person is using it? Not really if they're using it as a tool, but if they're using it with AI-generated content and they're auto-posting, and now it's a whole farm system going on, how do I know that's not what the situation is, right? You don't. As soon as, now it's like the people's use of AI has put the doubt in my mind to where I don't know that any content that I don't see someone like actually creating, that maybe this is just another form of AI slop. Now I don't know. It's calling everything into question, and I hate that. I really do hate it. BM says, do lip readers find it AI easier to spot? Well, they have lip syncing AI too, so we're not only changes like what you're saying. It moves your mouth in a different way to kind of mimic that. I don't mind that either, because again, that's just getting you around a language barrier, right? So that's cool with me. But when you never see a person at all, now it puts all of that content in the question for me. And now when I know that the voice is AI, I just immediately I don't even want to hear it anymore. But moving on, what do we have here? Next story we got is going to be about Apple's wide iPhone. So this wide iPhone, like this article caught my eye because it said something that I thought was like, okay, everyone wants to copy the iPhone Fold. And this is what happens every time Apple does something, right? Like every time Apple does something, people forget that other companies did what Apple's doing. It's just that Apple's doing it now, and that causes people to have short-term memory. They get caught in the Apple, what do they call that? The gravitational field. And it causes them to lose their short-term memory of what happened a year ago. Some might argue that's not short-term. That's probably long-term, but still, you get what I'm saying. There were companies who did this kind of form factor before, and certainly foldables aren't new, right? But Apple comes and people forget. So let's highlight the not forgetting. Right here we have the Pixel, the original Pixel Fold, in the second to the right there. This one where the big arrow is at. Can we see the big arrow? Does the big arrow come up? It does. Right there. Short, wide. That was intentional. It set it apart from all the candy bars. You fold it out. I like that aspect ratio too. Apple does it, and people forget that this has been done before. And before the Fold, what do we have here? What do we have? We have the Microsoft Surface Duo. 2, in fact. The first was the same. It had the wide. I mean, it's dual screen, right? It's not foldable. It's a foldable, but it's dual screen. It's not one solid screen there, but still, you get the point. It's wider. So this has been done before. And I like that form factor. Apple's just setting themselves apart with doing their own. And then we got the Honor starting to make theirs wider, stubbier, foldable as well. This has been done before. And I like this implementation. So kudos to Apple for choosing, to me, the better of the implementations. I don't know why the Pixel went away from this form factor. They wanted to copy Samsung. It's probably because they're getting their screens from Samsung, and Samsung's like, we're not making that anymore. I wonder where Apple's getting their stubby screen from. Probably from Samsung, too. I think they all get their screens from Samsung, if I'm not wrong. Yes, people who read lips really can tell immediately. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And kudos. That's a skill that's paying off right now, eInk. Lip reading. That's a skill in the AI age. That's a skill that's definitely paying off way more dividends than it probably used to. But anyway, I think this is cool. Like I said, I think it's a good implementation of the form factor, and kudos to Apple. There's been a leak. I didn't bring that story up, but there was a leak about what the Apple the new phone looked like, and it looks crazy. I hope this leak is wrong. It basically folds 3 times. Like I said, I didn't bring it up because I didn't think it was legitimate. So if you want to see it, it's out there. But yeah, I hope that's not it. I hope it looks like this. It probably won't, though. It probably won't. Next up, we got the story basically of the day here. Google begins rolling out Chrome's Auto Browse AI agent today. And let's go over what we have here on this particular front. We're going to throw this. Can we throw this and can we repeat it? Maybe not. Google began stuffing Gemini into its dominant Chrome browser several months ago, and today the AI is expanding its capabilities considerably. Google said that chatbot will be easier to access and connect to more Google services, but the biggest change is the addition of Google's autonomous browsing agent, which is dubbed Auto Browse, similar to tools like OpenAI's Atlas. So these are just browser agents that you put a prompt in and they'll search the sites looking for information for you. Kind of like thing. And they have, like I said, demonstrated here in this bit here. Which will be dubbed Auto Browse, which is similar to OpenAI's Atlas. Auto Browse can handle tedious tasks in Chrome, so you don't have to. And it does a lot of this. It's just in the background too. The newly unveiled Gemini features in Chrome are accessible from the omnipresent AI button that has been lurking in the top of the window for the last few months. Initially, that button only opened Gemini to a pop-up window, but Google now says it will default to a split screen or side panel view. Google confirmed the update began rolling out over the past week, so you may already have it. You can still pop Gemini out into a floating window, but the split view gives Gemini more room to breathe while manipulating the page with AI. It is also helpful when calling other apps in the Chrome implementation of Gemini. The chatbot can now access Gmail, Calendar, YouTube, Maps, Google Shopping, and Google Flights right from the Chrome window. Google technically added this feature around in the middle of January, but it's only talking about it now for whatever reason. What else we got down here as far as examples of this particular feature? Google says Auto Browse is based on its latest Gemini 3 model with input from the company's work on the experimental Project Mariner agent. And if you didn't know, Project Mariner, it was just this AI browsing agent that they have been working on for a while. If you do something with the keyboard and mouse inside your browser, Auto Browse is theoretically able to take over. It can also access the content and tabs in your browser, asking for permission when it needs to access sensitive data, such as your passwords. When you launch Auto Browse tasks, Chrome will open new tabs as necessary and mark them as sparkly AI icons so you know where the robot is active, or the chatbot, as it were. You don't have to keep that tab in the foreground. You can even have multiple AI tasks going at once. The AI will ping you to check in when the task is done or it needs your input. However, there are limits on Auto Browse, similar to some of the company's more computationally intensive chatbot functions. AI Pro subscribers get 20 AI browse tasks per day, but those paying for AI Ultra get 200 per day. So Ultra is the $200 a month highest tier AI Gemini AI chatbot, and the AI Pro is the $20 tier. So if you're paying $20, you get 20 browsing tasks. So it's $1 per browsing task, essentially, with this plan. Super interesting to me. I think that I have not liked AI agents in browsing very much. I haven't seen the use for them. I mean, I used Perplexity's browser when I had the opportunity to use it for the week that I had it. Wasn't very useful. I haven't used Atlas. I think Atlas is locked behind OpenAI's $200 tier. If I'm wrong, someone let me know about that. But I think that's locked behind the $200 tier of, I forgot what they call it. Maybe it's ChatGPT Ultra. I don't know. But whatever the highest tier is, I think that agent is locked behind there. But regardless, I haven't seen much use for them. And I haven't seen much by way of the internet and use cases that people have found for them that are super useful either. So maybe with this being more widely available, it will get more traction. More people will use it. More people will find out ways to make it useful, I guess. At least that's the hope. That's the hope. Moving on to the last thing we have here. Actually, that would be the last thing we have on the on the tech front. Let's go into the eInk chat, shall we? All right. So as far as eInk goes, we don't have much. We got one story here, and why somebody wouldn't recommend this particular e-reader to anyone anymore. And I thought that was interesting. So let's take a look. E-readers are the best way to read in 2026 if you're a bit overwhelmed by your buying choices. It's understandable. There are also reputable businesses to buy from, and each offering plenty of options. You're probably familiar with Amazon's e-reader line, the Kindles. As one of the first devices to dominate the space, the word Kindle became synonymous with e-readers years ago, and other brands have been playing catch up to Amazon's solution since. Why you shouldn't buy the Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition. I get it. So the Paperwhite Signature Edition is the device they're not suggesting to people. And I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to see if anybody had here felt the same way, and why. The premium. What's the deal? I mean, I know Aaron loves his Paperwhite. But what would be the reason why you guys wouldn't suggest this to someone? So I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to know why. I couldn't figure out a reason why. I think it's one of the biggest brands from one of the biggest names in eInk. Super interesting. But comparing the pricing and what you get for the both is what this person's basically referring to in this particular article. I thought this was something a little bit different. But I still don't see why someone would not want to. If you don't want the premium, don't get the premium. I mean, it's as simple as that. The device itself is still, you can still buy the regular one. You don't have to get the premium if it serves your purpose. I don't know why you wouldn't suggest it for that, though. Again, unless you Kindle users out there have a better explanation for this. Moving on to the next thing we have in eInk is basically Reddit stuff. So let's go on and see what we got in the Reddit sphere. Well, that's more 3D printing. Should we expect the A6 X3 this year? I plan to buy a Nomad soon, but I worry that a new version might come out this year. There is no urgency for me, but maybe there were clear comments from the team regarding new device releases. No. Mulan mentioned a few days ago that there's no immediate plan for new tablets, and I don't think anyone's releasing anything new anytime soon. I haven't heard anything. Plus, I use Kindle Unlimited. I enjoy the Paperwhite. Plus, I use Kindle Unlimited, no doubt. So it wouldn't matter. I mean, I've never used a Kindle other than the Scribe that I have, but I mean, for reading, they're the default. That person was trying to get people to read that article. That was clickbaity, and I fell into the trap. Yes, please feel free to place your order with us today. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the Supernote devices right now, pull the trigger, in my opinion. I wouldn't wait for anything new to come down the pipeline anytime soon. Not that they wouldn't do it, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen or talked to anybody that's heard anything. Yeah, I don't think anything new is coming out anytime soon. Okay, no wonder that eInk looks under. Everyone know how eInk looks under a microscope. I thought this was interesting here, so let's take a look. I've already seen this. I wanted to see if he got a better view of what that I can do with a macro lens. No, so that's not any better than what I can do with a macro lens. No, I've done a couple of videos where I've done macro shots of eInk, and it's way better than this. So maybe the microscope, maybe it's not high enough magnification. Maybe it's not higher than the macro lens magnification I had. This is pretty close though. Maybe he's changing the zooms. Maybe he's changing magnifications. Actually, he is. Okay, that's impressive. I mean, when you look at it here, you basically see that the capsules aren't uniform, right? That's the takeaway for this for me, is that the capsules aren't super uniform. I wondered if that's a trait that they get more uniform with more expensive panels. Maybe that's one of the premium features. I think it's interesting. I think it's very cool and interesting. All right, moving on to some rando stuff here. What do we have? Getting into 3D printing. So Aaron mentioned some 3D printing questions the other day about he didn't know what printer to buy. Now, this isn't this is just me giving some information on the live stream about 3D printing, and I just put together a list of a couple of things I want to talk about randomly. The size of models. So, like, to me, the size of the model you want to make dictates what kind of printer you get when you're talking about 3D prints. And for me, I'm printing really small stuff, so resin was the only choice. If you're printing bigger things, then you have a choice of filament and resin, right? Resin might be the only choice for you too if you're deciding you want to produce. I guess you can produce production ready parts with both filament and resin, but it's about how much work you want to do, right? So with filament, you can produce production like quality parts if you're willing to do a lot of sanding and post processing in that way. With resin, you have to do post processing no matter what, because you have to work with chemicals to get the excess resin off of your parts, and then you have to do other things to them to cure. And so there's lots of post processing if you want manufacturing quality parts, production quality parts. But it's a lot of just sanding if you're doing filament. So you can do that with filament. So if size matters, really small things, resin is your only option. Because nozzle sizes can only get down to, I think, 0.2 millimeters at a reasonable cost. After that, they start to get really expensive. You can do it, but they're specialty machines, and you can't do that on the product or the consumer level 3D printing machines. When you get into what else would be a limiting factor for this? Size of the model. So if it's really small, you got to go resin. You don't have a choice. The quality that you need to produce, you can produce production level quality with both filament and resin. Level of post-processing you are willing to do. So if you don't want to mess with chemicals, then it makes it easy. Just go with filament because you don't have to worry about dealing with any chemicals. You just have to, sanding is going to be your post-processing. If you're okay with chemicals, your post-processing for resin is going to be sanding sometimes and post-processing with chemicals. So that's going to be the post-processing you're going to be dealing with. So if you know you don't want to deal with chemicals, like I said, then it makes it really easy. Go with filament. Filament. I still think the bamboo printers are the best in filament. I mean, I don't really. If someone out there has a better option in the replay or something like that, sees this later, let me know in the comments. But for beginner 3D printing, the bamboo printers are really good, and the A1 and the A1 Mini are still right now really good entry level printers, at a really good like entry level price as well. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, that's a good filament route for you to go. If you decided that resin is the way to go for your project or for what you want to do, like you're going to have to look at a couple things. The size of the vat that you want to have, right? Because if you're printing very small stuff, get a small resin printer, right? Because you're going to be wasting a lot of resin if you don't. I have a Bamboo X1C and H2D. Woo, you got the H2D, Rob? Let me know how you're liking that. The H1 Carbon, those are really, when you get serious about 3D printing, those are machines you get then. And he says they're great. When you get serious about 3D printing, that's when you deal with them for sure. My brother is looking into getting that H2D right now. Actually, he's drooling over it, and when he starts drooling like this over something, he usually goes for it. But the H1 Carbon, I really like them. So, is the H1 Carbon more for advanced materials? Both of those are enclosed machines, right? The A1 and A1 Mini are both open air, like beginner machines. Like when you get into the more like production level machines, then you want enclosures because the higher level resins require you to maintain a temperature cabin, if you will. Engineering grade materials require heating chambers, so you're going to need that closed system if you want to work with the higher level resins. Yeah, enclosed both. So like I said, if you want to work with resin to get into, if your first machine is going to be a resin machine, you're like, I need resin for this, so that's what it's going to be. Think about getting a small one if you don't need a big one right away, because you're going to waste a lot of resin trying to get used to using the machine. That's one of the things I wish I would have done. Is I bought the Saturn 4 Ultra 16K because of the heated vat and the tilting mechanism where it allows for faster printing. I don't care about faster printing anymore because faster equals less quality. Longer prints look better, period, point blank. Just whatever you can to lengthen the time of your prints, do it. You're going to get a better quality from it. and people are like, oh, I want it to be fast. I want it now. I don't care about now. I just want it to be good. That's what I care about. So, but that's the thing. If you're going into resin to be your beginning machine, in my opinion, I would get a small one because you're going to use less resin in a smaller vat. Like you can buy a small 0.5 kilogram bottle of resin and it'll last you for all of your testing that you're going to do. And then, but maybe buy 5 or 0.5 kilogram or 500 1 kilogram is 500 grams. Yeah. Yep. All right. 500-gram bottle of resin. Buy 2. 1 to test and 1 after you get done wasting that testing, because you're going to go through 2 of those small bottles for a bigger vat, like what I have. And now you fill the vat up because you have to, because it's heated. And you have to fill it up to a certain baseline to even have it be heated. So it presents this whole host of issues. Unless you absolutely need a heated vat, then your only option is the bigger machines. But if you can get away with one of the smaller machines, you're going to save resin. You're going to save time. The prints are going to happen quicker because it's smaller. Like, the cleanup is going to be easier. Like, man, yeah. So if you're getting started with resin, go into the smaller machine you can get away with for what you want to do. Save yourself some time, anguish, and resin, and money for that matter. And again, if you can get away, if you know you can get away with filament is the way to go, because you can produce production level quality parts with filament. You just got to do some post processing in the way of sanding and maybe polishing if you're into that kind of thing. But those are my thoughts on 3D printing and getting into it. Like, size of the models. If you're going really small in detail, like with 3D prints, then you want to get resin, because resin can produce really small detail models for whatever the purpose you're making them for. Filaments restricted by nozzle size. And I think you can get down to, 0.1 micro. You can get down to 10 micrometers. There we go. Or 0.01 millimeters. Yeah. In size with a lot of these consumer grade 3D printers for resin. For the filament, like I said, you can normally 0.2 is what you're going down to. Let's see here. Okay. Lastly, I was going to mention me trudging through Expedition 33. I'm trudging through Expedition 33, chat. I'm really trying to get to the end of it, but the story is good though so far. You got to study to get good at fighting. You got to study the spells. You got to study the skills. You got to study the items. I still haven't figured out how to use Luminas. I got 12 of them just stacked. It says when you get to a camp, you can use these Luminas to increase your weapon skills. I get to camp, still can't use Luminas. I got stacks of them. Oh boy. 0.2 is the smallest I can use, says Rob. Yeah. Yeah. They have the smaller ones, but you're gonna pay 20 grand, 15 grand for those machines, where you can use really small nozzles. We talked about the mosquito nose nozzle. That thing, I think that thing got up to 2. Don't make me lie. I want to say 2 micrometers. Let's see what that. They call it a necro nozzle. 3D. Necro printing. What did that mosquito nozzle get down to? We picked the wrong story for necro printing. 20 microns. Okay, so the necro printing using mosquito nozzles, mosquito stinger spout, or you know what I'm talking about, the long thing the mosquitoes stick into you to suck the blood out. They're using those as 3D printer nozzles, and those get down to 20 microns. So, yeah, I think that's getting on 3D printer level right there. That's 3D printer level. Like, we'll 3D printers can technically, like, I can do probably a 10 micron print right now, even with the Elegoo. I can't do a 10 micron print with the. Can you do 10 micron print with the Formlabs? Hell no. I think the Formlabs goes down to 25 microns. They only go down to 25 microns. So this will be better than a Formlabs resin printer. This nozzle right here. Interesting stuff. Super, super interesting stuff there. The 3D printing world is getting bigger. And like I said, I'll be launching this maker channel here pretty soon and getting all this information out in a formal way. 3D printing is so fascinating, chat. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate the chat today. I really appreciate it. That was gonna be rough today. I thought no one was gonna come today, but you guys held it down. We got Aaron here. We got Rob. We also got eInk here. And BM. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. And to all the people watching as well, thank you for being here today. Rants About Tech Live, where we do rants about tech news, eInk news, random stuff along the way. If you'd like to kind of show, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Join if you want that badge by your name. You do it. You do it. Or even on iOS now. Watch it on your iPhone. You got a join button down there now. Hit that join. Thanks to everybody. We're going to be here tomorrow for the last show of the week. I think we have some Samsung Unpacked information to talk about tomorrow. We're gonna create some if we don't. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, and until then, take care.